One of my clients once asked me to help them integrate the remote working model to their company's operations. This was a few years ago actually, and not much was known about remote working at the time. I sought out organizations who were already successful with remote working, and I found a few. As I explored the blogs and books that these companies had created to help people like me, I noticed a pattern. They often use the word distributed, not remote, to describe the operational setup that I was seeking. Distributed teams are completely remote in that anyone can work from anywhere at any time. Around the same time, a colleague of mine was accepted into an accelerator program which required him to move to a different city. Their model, which they described as co-located, meant that everyone needed to be in the same physical space at least part of a time. So, however, a number of other tech giants like Google, Apple and IBM have rejected the distributed model in favor of the co-located model, but still managed to incorporate remote options. Each of the aforementioned organizations build software. So which model is the right one to follow? Co-location or distributed? Can these models apply to finance or telecom? This will depend on your specific team and not the type of industry you are in. You can also include remote elements into your strategy, but choosing a remote model, whether it is distributed or co-located, is the foundation of your remote work strategy. And your leadership style. This will be one of the most important decisions you make as you introduce remote working to your team. No matter where they are, all employees need to communicate and connect with coworkers. They need to be able to find and offer support. And they need to engage in company culture. Providing virtual meeting rooms and conference software might not help prevent employees from feeling isolated, but social isolation is different from professional isolation. It's not about missing the presence of people around you. It's about missing access to answers, feedback, praise, camaraderie, and an experienced coach. Without channels, we're going to miss those opportunities that they provided in our lives and in our careers. So you've tried repeatedly to help your team to become better adjusted to the new normal, but it's not just working. Every time a new requirement comes from a customer, or the competitive landscape changes, or a new member joins the team, things get out of whack. So, how can you help the team to practice collaborative adaptation? First, ask the team to virtually meet up and see if they can independently and collectively identify that their biggest challenge is their lack of agility to these changing situations. You can even give them examples where you've seen them encounter challenges and let them do the work of assessing the reasons that those issues arose in the first place. Second, encourage the members of the team to take a self-inventory of how individual members adapt as changes appear. Ask them to be self-aware and take an honest look at their own strengths and need for improvement areas. Honestly will not only help to highlight situations where specific members have encountered particular issues, but this process will also help team members learn more about the collaboration process by determining how the team needs to help individual members and ways to improve their skill sets. As the company's goals and processes change, the team's goals and how work is accomplished should be evaluated and reorganized as needed. Third, task the team to establish and create their own solutions and personal goals. Then monitor the process as a follow-up to ensure progress and effectiveness. Consider suggesting that team members pair up, with the more adaptive members working more closely with those having a harder time with changing conditions. You may find that the major influence on particular team members is the stress associated with constant or abrupt change. At times, a particular worker may feel that they're not able to deal with frequent or big changes, so their stress reaction puts them in a mode where they become less consistent in their contributions to the team. It's also important to encourage the team to be highly aware of the effect of stress on team members and to speak up to their peers whenever they see signs of stress that are affecting the workers' activities. Remember that people can become the most stressed when change seems unending, like we encountered the first weeks of COVID-19 lockdowns, and when the team continually drives at the same high level of activity with no seeming conclusion in sight. Encourage the team to follow what I call alternating rhythms, which are brief periods where they work in bursts, increasing their efforts and stepping up their output, but then they need to take brief periods of time to dial it down a notch, whether by blowing off steam, experiencing a Netflix watch party as a team activity, or by taking a collective day off to catch their breath and relax. This will teach the team to pace themselves and how to operate as a collective unit, in addition to establishing an effective rhythm for the most efficient productivity for each individual team member.